scene.
I'm just grabbing a sticker really quickly. Listen, I'll check on you in the morning.
Thank
okay?
you so much.
Congratulations, guys. Sweet.
Hello guys, welcome back to our channel. Today we are actually going to share one of Kenzie's many birth stories. And many. Well, I mean, we each have only have one. So. And we're gonna start with
Cohen,
the middleest,
the newest little guy. Guys, his birth story is kind of eventful. I guess I have to start with my pregnancy to fully explain the birth. But when he was 11 weeks, so I was 11 weeks pregnant, I ended up going to the hospital with 2 pulmonary embolisms. So I had a blood clot in each one of my lungs, and I was in the ICU for a couple days, and my sisters and my mom saved my life. They took care of my other 4 kiddos and my house and my whole life while I wasn't able to. But because I got those blood clots, I had to do blood thinner injections twice a day for the remainder of my pregnancy and for like 3 months afterwards. Because of that, they talked to me about the possibility of an epidural during labor. And for my 2 babies before Cohen, I didn't have an epidural. So they were telling me, you know, like you can have an epidural, but it's going to be very tricky because I was on Lovenox. And so they said, when you become about 36 weeks pregnant, we'll switch you over to heparin because it has a shorter half-life. And then we'll have to have you come into the hospital and get blood draws like 3 times a week until we figure out a correct dosage that will like keep your blood from clotting, because I had the pre-existing clots, and that will be safe for you to like still get an epidural like 12 hours after your last injection. And in my head I was like, that sounds like a lot of work. Yeah. Like I have 4 kids at home. I don't have time to come to the hospital 3 times a week and try to figure out this dosage and everything. And so I was like, you know what, we're cool. Like let's just not do an epidural, because I haven't had an epidural with my last 2 babies. They were very fast, and so I said, I think we're good. So I already was already planning on not being able to have an epidural. And it was actually longer than both Canyon and Kinley, my labor. I was almost 38 weeks pregnant when I went into labor with him. The day I went into labor, I had been doing everything. I ate like a whole pineapple for breakfast. I was eating spicy nachos for lunch. We were actually at one of my brother's wrestling tournaments, and we were in the high school gym. And between every match, I would get up and just walk up and down the stairs on the bleachers. Like I was ready. I was ready to have my baby. And my last 2, I should mention, my last 2 came at 37 weeks. And so we were expecting him around that time anyway. And we knew he was healthy and good to go. So I was just like, let's do this. Yeah. So I actually started getting, and I was 4 centimeters dilated and 90% effaced for like 10 days before that. So it wasn't like there was no progression and I was just trying to make labor happen. I was 4 centimeters and 90% effaced. So I was like,
he had been dropped for like a week and a half, and she could
like
barely walk.
I could barely walk. I could barely like remotely close my legs because he was so low and ready, guys. So that's why I was walking and everything. So when we were at the wrestling tournament, I started getting some pretty intense lower back contractions, and that's where all of my contractions have always been. Any contractions I have in my stomach are just like mild period type cramps, where the ones on my back are like, holy crap. Like, they'll go freaking kill. So the second I felt 2 of those, I was like, all right, let's go to the hospital, babe. So me and Cody jumped in the car, and we actually left the 4 kids at the wrestling tournament with my family, and just went to the hospital. I said, let's not like say this is go time. I just want them to check me, because I don't know, I get so discouraged when you think it's time and then you're sent home. So I was trying not to even get my hopes up. I was just like,
Well, at the same time, you don't want people waiting around.
Yeah, I don't want people waiting around.
Out.
Sorry, hang on. Okay, sorry. So we go into the hospital, and first of all, I just have to say, the hospital where I deliver has the most incredible nurses. And I don't know if it's just because it was my 5th baby, but they just 100% trusted me. Yeah. I had experiences with different nurses at different hospitals where they made me feel really dumb and naive and young, and I don't know, I just hated feeling that way. These nurses were just like, yeah, you know your body, we believe you, get in a gown and we'll start monitoring contractions. And I was like, sweet. So got in the gown, they checked me, and I was still 4 centimeters, almost 100% effaced. They said, well, we'll keep you. So they said, go downstairs, get some food, walk around, try to progress things. And I was like, okay, cool. So I called my mom and Shelby and Maddie and our sister-in-law Aubrey. And I was like, all right, guys, they're keeping me, so get on over here. But I'm not kidding you guys. I went down to the cafeteria.
Hold on, I want to tell this part.
Okay.
So the 4 of us run into the hospital not knowing what to expect because her last 2 came so quick.
Candy was almost born in the car, so like they're fast.
So we are like sprinting into the hospital.
Hurry! 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 Come on!
We get into the hospital and she's like walking around with
French fries.
with like French fries, just eating them in her gown, and we're like, what are you doing?
How's your French fries?
My mom and sisters decided to get some food while we were there too, because we didn't know how long the night would be.
Always
What
hungry.
time was it at this point? Like 5 at night, maybe?
It's like 6-ish.
Yeah, later.
Because the wrestling tournament was over. No, it was like 6-7.
Yeah, because the
Steve took
cafeteria
Leo
was
home to go to
almost
bed.
closing.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
We got there just
so
in
it
the
was
nick
like
of
maybe
time.
7 p.m. And so we're like, get food while we're all down here so you're not starving later. Every time I'd have a contraction, I'd kind of just bend over and like hold onto the table, and my mom's like, get upstairs, get upstairs. I'm like, Mom, I promise I'm not just gonna like push the baby out right here. I'll waddle upstairs before it's like time to go to that. But once my body does get to a certain point, it's like,
Yeah, it goes fast.
so fast. So we went upstairs, they checked me again. I was still at a 4, and I was kind of discouraged because at that point my contractions stopped. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I was having such strong back contractions, consistent. My whole family's here, like we've got the kids being babysat. And so they said, you know, with where you're at, we don't feel comfortable sending you home, especially because you already almost had a baby in the car. So they said, we are going to start some Pitocin. And they said, how do you feel about that? Are you comfortable with that? We know that you have to have a natural delivery, and this will definitely make contractions stronger. So how do you feel about starting Pitocin? I was like, let's do it. I had had Pitocin before with Carson, and I don't know, I just wanted to speed things up and like
Get it over with.
go.
Get you here.
Get you here in my arms, huh?
Oh,
So-
my heck.
So they started Pitocin, and after about like 45 minutes on Pitocin, the contractions were rolling. They were so high, and they were constant. Still manageable though. I was breathing through them. My mother and father-in-law were there with the rest of us that I already mentioned. We were just talking, hanging out for about like 2 hours. All of a sudden, it goes from like, ow, 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 that hurts, to I can't breathe, I'm about to throw up, that hurts. So the second that happened, I was like, well, here we go. And I was lucky enough that one of my nurses at the time was a midwife and a doula, and she was unbelievable.
And she specialized in natural birth.
Yeah, she specialized in natural deliveries, which I could not be more grateful for, because usually the nurses that are on staff aren't used to that. And she was incredible. She was, I don't know, she was talking me through everything.
She knew like where to push on her
Yeah,
hips,
she would
really
push on my hip,
pressure.
and so she had Cody pushing where she told him. So I had 3 contractions on my left side that were the I'm about to throw up or pass out. They hurt so bad. So 3 contractions on this side, and I just had to grip the handrail, and Cody would push on my hip, and I would breathe, and then I was okay. But they were back to back. So I had 3 on that side. I rolled over to my right side, had 2 on this side. Then that's when the doctor was in there, and she was amazing too. She was the on-call doctor. I had never seen her before, but she just trusted me and
She was
believed me
amazing.
that my babies come really fast. So she came in when I was only at a 4, which is really rare, especially for a doctor that's not yours. So 3 contractions on my left, had 2 contractions on my right. Then at that time she told me to turn to my back, and I did not want to turn to my back, because any of you that have had a baby naturally, you know that feeling, especially the contraction in your lower back. It's just like, I don't know, you kind of want to curl up in a ball.
like a fetal position.
And with each contraction, like you do, like your chest goes to your knees, like you curl up. And so the thought of rolling to my back and like spreading out was the last thing I wanted to do. I was just like, ugh, okay. So I reluctantly rolled to my back, opened my legs for 2 contractions on my back. So it was a total of 7 contractions of the hard contractions, and he was here. So ask Maddie and Shelby, I literally pushed for 2 contractions. It was push, wait a second, push, holding Cohen.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but I've watched 4 out of 5 of her births, and this one was by far the hardest for me to watch.
Yeah, the 2 contractions
By far.
on her back, you could tell how much pain she was in.
Oh, yeah.
She was, I wouldn't say she was screaming, but she was like,
you can watch the video.
screeching. She was, you could just tell, so overwhelmed with pain. And Maddie couldn't stand seeing someone she loved in pain, that it made her like queasy, like, because she couldn't do anything
I think
about
I
it.
left the room a few
Yeah,
times,
you
which
went and
I've
sat
never
down.
done.
And I think just seeing you in that much pain made her so
Yeah, I don't know if
nauseous.
I could handle seeing you guys in pain like that, but
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just incredible because I had 2 babies naturally before, but it wasn't by choice. It was because simply there was no time. So it was like, fast, we gotta go. This one was actually like a longer labor and like the whole birthing process in the hospital without an epidural. So I think it was a little harder because I wasn't like frantic trying to get to the hospital when I was in the worst pain. I was just laying there experiencing the pain. I was telling Cody, because we were just watching The Bachelor last week and they had him do like the contraction simulation, you know? And I said, that's all fine and cool because like the men's screaming in pain from the contractions. I'm like, but contractions are not the worst pain of it.
No.
Like, it's the ring of fire. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to apologize for TMI because this is a mom channel and birth is a natural process. But that part of like your skin stretching to like max capacity, that's the most painful part.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know, it's, guys, our bodies can do incredible things. Like, you are capable of so much more than you can ever imagine. But I'm so grateful I was able to have that experience with him because I feel like, I don't know, I obviously have a special bond with all 5 of my kids. And maybe it's just because he's my baby, but I feel like mine and his is a little different, and it's probably just because of his different personality. But the doctors and nurses were also so amazing that right after he was born, so I pulled him up to me and they said, whoa, wait, we gotta cut the umbilical cord, because I was just like, give him to me. So I had to wait for a minute. They cut that, and then I seriously pulled my gown down, put him in there, pulled my gown back up, and we laid there for a good hour.
Yeah.
Just me and Cohen. They didn't try to take him. They didn't try to weigh him, measure him, do anything. They simply let me lay there for a full hour, skin to skin with my baby, and it was the most incredible thing.
I think
Well,
at that
and-
moment in time, you need that to heal.
Yes,
you do.
Like, that's the only thing that truly heals you from what you just went through.
Well, and it was really cool too because some of us in the room were talking about like, oh, how much do we think he weighs? How big is he? And the nurse, like, you guys know how nurses are. Like,
They're
they
usually
only care-
pressuring you.
And they only care about the mom and kid. They looked at us and they're like, we're not weighing him anytime soon, so like, don't expect it. Which we all kind of appreciated because they wanted them to
much.
have that
Sure.
connection.
Well, and I feel like I have had nurses in the past.
That are like,
because
let's go.
Well,
Like,
they pressure you. They're like, you can hold him in a minute. We need to go take him. And I don't know. It's just like, slow down for a minute. Like, this is, I know you're busy. I know you have things to do, but like, let my baby calm down and relax. He just went through a very traumatic thing. I just went through a traumatic thing. Like, let us breathe for a minute. And I think it was finally us that were like, okay, you can take him now and like take care of him, because they were in no rush whatsoever, and I loved it.
and to be honest, like, I know this sounds crazy, but he has the most calm, patient personality.
Yes.
And I 100% blame it on that situation.
Yeah.
He came into this world to like the most calm and patient like environment.
Yeah.
And he just got to sit there on his mom, skin to skin.
Well,
and
he
he's been
didn't-
like that ever since.
He didn't get ripped away naked and cold with bright lights on him. He literally just got to cuddle into his mom and be soothed and warm.
This
and
is him 24/7.
he's pretty dang awesome.
And we're not just saying that.
No, he really, like, when people will say, does Cohen ever cry? And I feel bad, or sometimes I feel like people might think that I'm lying or like bragging, but in like 100% honesty, he really doesn't. Like, he'll fuss,
Yeah.
or he'll be like
I'm
uncomfortable,
hungry.
like I'm hungry, but he doesn't scream. He doesn't cry. It's just like,
It's
hey,
usually like a,
pay attention to me. So
Oh.
he's, I don't know, guys, he will be 5 months old on the 12th. So
What?
just in like,
Oh, Toey.
in 9 days, he'll be 5 months old. I can't believe that. So he was born on January 12th, and it was like 11:58, wasn't it? It was right before midnight.
before.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's his birth story, you guys. It
Tell
was,
him how much he weighed and how tall he was too.
oh yeah, so he was 6'1", right?
Yes.
He was 6'1", and he was 18 and a half inches. So he was my shortest baby. Then he actually lost weight in the hospital. So for like the first 2 weeks of his life, he was actually like 5 pounds, 10 ounces. He was so tiny, so little. He still is. He's only 5th% on the growth chart. So he's still like 11.9 pounds. He's little. But
He's how much?
11 pounds. He's little, but which again, I'm so grateful for doing that naturally. But
For real.
And he, from day one, has been an amazing nurser. Latched right away. He was the best
Immediately.
latcher out of all your
well,
kids,
and
wasn't he?
that's what we didn't mention when we were sitting there for that hour doing the skin to skin. I immediately latched him onto me, and he sucked away, and he ate perfectly. And I know, again, because it was my 5th kid, and probably because the nurses were like, oh, she wasn't kidding when she said once she reaches a certain point it like flies, because I think when I got that first hard contraction, I was only at like a 6.
Yeah.
But my body goes from a 6 to holding the baby in like
So
3
fast.
minutes, like
Yeah.
really, really quickly. So I think they just trusted me. And the 2 days we were in the hospital, there was never once any pressure of, you need to nurse him right now, you need to feed him right now.
And they didn't come
They
check
left me
on you.
alone. They
Yeah.
100% left me alone. The only time they'd come in the room is if I asked them for something. So it was just such an incredible experience. I'm so grateful that I got to experience it with him, and
I
know.
missed her.
it was an awesome day, guys.
Don't
And
you
you
say
can
hi?
actually watch the whole thing. We have a video over on my vlog channel, and we'll link it here. But you can watch the whole thing of you being born, huh?
I missed her. Oh.
He's so
the
sweet.
best.
But his name was Cohen J. Moffat, and we named his middle name Jay is after my grandpa Jay, my mom's dad. And I just love my grandpa so much. He's an incredible man, so that's why we named him that.
Okay.
And that's his birth story, guys.
And we love him. He was the perfect addition to this family.
We
love him so
Oh,
much.
come here, so big. He's learning how to sit, so he thinks he's big.
He's so big.
Can you be a little baby again? He's a tiny little baby.
Oh. My heck.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
He's so sweet.
But if you guys, sorry Matt, if you guys have like any questions for Kenzie, if you're thinking of doing a natural birth, please leave them down below, because I'm pretty sure she's an expert at this point.
Well, and I've actually wanted to make a video with tips, because
That's a good idea.
I actually, with him, it was the only time that I prepared for a natural childbirth, because I knew I was going to have to do it. And I watched a ton of videos on YouTube, and there were so many videos with awesome information, but I feel like I took something from each video.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to make one with like my top tips and what helped me the most. So watch for that. Maybe we'll see that soon.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, well, thank you for watching. We hope you enjoyed hearing about little Coey, and we will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Oh, I need it.
Let's take
Oh, this little breath. Oh, I can't with you, Cohen.
So my mom.
Maddie, there's 2 dogs out there.
Oh no, I just thought it was McKinley for a second. What? I thought it was her
There's 2
ponytail.
big dogs.
I don't have a dog.
It's okay.
You're up in the night.
Okay.
No, there was
you
2
are.
dogs.
I am up in the night. Okay.
Yeah,